Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast with your host, Cody Jansen.
Am I on air? What's up, everybody? We're back. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, and welcome to episode 35 of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires. Can you believe it? We got the 2020 season in despite all the challenges and hurdles of 2020. The finale has come and gone. We crowned a champion, and we're here to talk all about it on this, our 2020 season review podcast. Casey Greek is back to discuss all that happened at South of the Border, and so is Sean Taylor, fresh off mechanicking Joel Hetrick to his 5th win of the season. Stoked to get these guys on and hear all that they have to say, but first, let's thank all the great sponsors that make this possible. And a special shout out to Namira Technologies and Bronco ATV and UTV Components for teaming up with us for another year. Thanks for digging deep with us. Thanks to our title sponsor, CST Tires, CSTTires.com. The Pulse MXR tire is the best tire on the market no matter what the terrain. Join the CST takeover today or prepare to be beat by someone who did. CST Tires, where passion meets the ground. Thank you to Motorsports Powerhouse and show sponsor, Yamaha. We are proud to be partnered with the winningest manufacturer of the past decade in ATV motocross and the #1 OEM supporter of ATV racing. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast is Team Blue Crew. Thank you, Yamaha. Check them out at YamahaOutdoors.com. Thanks to another member of Racing Royalty and longtime sponsor of my personal racing efforts, Valvoline. For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to innovating and improving your riding and driving experience. The world's oldest oil company still leads the charge with unrivaled products and lubricants. Thanks to Team Valvoline for coming on board. Thank you to SSI Decals. SSI Decals is the decal choice of champions everywhere and is synonymous with the best decals and graphics kits on the market. Their track record speaks for itself. Champions choose SSI Decals for unmatched look and quality. Thanks to those guys. Check them out today at SSIDecals.com. It's an absolute honor to be partnered with Wienen Motorsports. We all know him as one of the toughest competitors ATV motocross has ever seen, and Chad Wienen has built quite the business within the industry as well. The same products he handpicked to help him win 6 AMA ATV Pro National Championships are available to you through Wienen Motorsports. Simply put, he sells what he races. So head over to wienenmotorsports.com to see everything they have to offer and use promo code DIGDEEP to save at checkout. Thanks to Chad Wienen and Wienen Motorsports for further legitimizing everything we're doing here at Digging Deep. It's an absolute honor. Thank you to DID Racing Chain and their 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain. Team USA, Joel Hetrick, and myself trusted DID's unrivaled chain quality all the way to championship victory this past season. Wherever you go, go with DID. We are proud to be partnered with Gripped Gloves. Gripped is an ATV rider owned and operated brand with the rider in mind and keeping costs affordable the goal. This Michigan-based family operation is here to push stereotypes and limitations while recognizing riders' desire to showcase their identity with eccentric colorways and crazy patterns. Gripped is driven to produce a glove with cool colors and designs that won't break the bank. Get a grip on life. Check them out at grippedgloves.com. That's GRIPT gloves.com and use discount code DIGGINGDEEP10 to save. Thanks to the Decker Training Facility. The Decker Training Facility at County Line MX is now open. This premier motocross training compound is located in beautiful Fountain, Florida, a short 40-minute drive from Panama City Beach. Their rapidly growing facility consists of a pro-level national track, amateur and youth tracks, woods loop, and mountain bike trails. Everything you need to train comfortably all winter long is available on site, including private cabins, a full gym, RV hookups, bathhouses, garage, dump station, wash bays, and more. With accommodations for riders across the country and around the world, the Decker Training Facility will help you become the best rider you can be. Sign up for a group training session or a private lesson with nationally ranked pros. Train tougher, smarter, and harder this off-season at one of Florida's most luxurious facilities. For more information, go to DeckerTrainingFacility.com or find them on Facebook and Instagram. Decker Training Facility, your elite training experience.
Thank you, Namira Technologies. Namira, pistons with an attitude. Namira has led the charge in the ATV and side-by-side market since 2001 with their wide array of pistons, rings, gaskets, and industry-leading top-end repair kits. To purchase, visit your local dealer or online at namura.com. That's NAMURA.com. Also, a big thanks to Bronco ATV and UTV components. Bronco has been the industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. Whether it's electrical components, engine internals like rods and cylinders, suspension parts, or bearing kits, Bronco is your hard part source when it comes to whatever you need for whatever you ride. BroncoATV.com. Thanks to Forworks Carbon for the continued support, known for their hoods, seat covers, array of carbon parts, and so much more. Forworks is your one-stop shop to give your ATV a new and improved look with increased function this year. Head over to the social media pages or website today. Thanks to Forworks Carbon. Thanks to DP Brakes, the unquestioned leader in motorsports and power sports braking. DP is the brand responsible for allowing Joel Hetrick, your host Cody Jansen, and so many others to outbrake the competition every time they hit the racetrack. It's never too late to join the team, so act fast. www.dp-brakes.com. Thank you to Mountaineer Brand. If you know me, you know I love my... What the?
Hey, that's my line. If you know me, you know I love my beard. That's why I treat it right with Mountaineer Brand's all-natural washes, oils, balms, and more. Use discount code CODY'sFave in all caps. That's CODYSFAV, CODY'sFave in all caps at mountaineerbrand.com. Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply is a racing family-owned business that serves as a steel and concrete supplier to the entire United States. Launderville Steel is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products headlined by their 4130 chromoly tubing and plate. And with over 25 years of experience, the concrete division can supply everything you need to complete your next project. Their central Midwest location enables them to easily serve customers across the United States. Launderville Steel loves their racing just as much as we do. Thanks to Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply. We're thankful for our partnership with Factory 43. Since 2007, this racer-owned company has been striving to offer a quality product that installs easy, looks good, and holds up over time, producing bumpers, grab bars, Nerf bars, and other accessories. For 2020, Factory 43 is the aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing Honda team, providing riders like Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Chris Borich, and Grayson Eller with their motocross and cross-country versions of Evo Nerf bars and MX-style front bumpers. Head over to factory43atv.com to see their full line of products, thanks to Factory 43. We are proud to be partnered with Bikes, Trikes, and Quads, LLC. Bikes, Trikes, and Quads, LLC was started by former racers selling three-wheeler parts out of a barn in upstate New York. Now 10 years later, BTQ LLC has over 40,000 new and used parts in stock, but they haven't forgotten their roots, still offering used OEM parts for three-wheelers, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides. Parts are in stock and ready to ship with guaranteed delivery within 3 days, including free shipping on orders of over $50. Use discount code ATVMX at www.btqllc.com for $10 off of orders $50 or more. We're grateful to have Bikes, Trikes, and Quads LLC digging deep with us, support our industry's small businesses, and thank you BTQ LLC. We are proud of our partnership with Roman Health. On average, Americans are forced to wait 29 days to see a doctor in major U.S. cities. If you're dealing with a condition like erectile dysfunction, you want treatment ASAP. That's why our friends at Roman have spent years building a digital platform to connect you with a licensed doctor in your state from the comfort of your own home. Roman makes it convenient to get the treatment you need on your schedule. Just grab your phone or computer, complete a free online visit, and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. If the doctor decides that treatment is right for you, Roman's Pharmacy will ship your medication to you with free 2-day shipping. Plus, there's no commitments and you can cancel anytime with Roman. So if you're struggling with ED, go to getroman.com/digging for your free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's getroman.com/digging for your free online visit and free 2-day shipping. Thanks as always to Evans Waterless Power Sports Coolant. Upgrade to Evans now to avoid overheating and boil over next time you hit the track. When conditions are at their worst, Evans is at its best. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP20 to save at checkout, evanscoolant.com. Thanks to Blenders Eyewear, whose Life in Forward Motion brand is the perfect fit to partner with our podcast. You won't find better shades for a more attractive price anywhere else. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP20 to save on the trendiest shades on the market. BlendersEyewear.com.
Thanks to Avocado Green Mattresses. The Avocado mattress offers zoned back support with an internal support unit. meaning whether you are recovering from a hard day of riding or relaxing on a Sunday morning, you are experiencing next level comfort. With a 100-night sleep trial, free shipping and return pickups, and a 25-year warranty, getting your avocado green mattress could not be any easier. Step up your sleep game by visiting avocadomattress.com.
From our new partners to our original sponsors, thanks for supporting the #1 podcast in ATV racing and making this dream a reality for both us and our listeners. We pride ourselves in partnering with only the best brands inside and outside of the industry, so better your riding experience and your lifestyle by supporting the sponsors who support us. And if you enjoy the show, the best thing you can do is support our partners. If you're interested in becoming a partner of the show, shoot me a message or email today for more details. We are running a discounted partnership rate to assist small businesses, so message or email us today to keep your brand relevant. Once again, thanks to all of our sponsors. All right, guys, we're excited to get this conversation started. Here to help cover the South of the Border finale, the 2020 season as a whole, silly season, and a way too early look at the 2021 season. Back again this week, former AMA ATV Pro Class National Championship winning mechanic, brought to you by Nemura Technologies and Bronco ATV and UTV components from Impact Solutions. It's Casey Greek. What's up, buddy? Glad to have you join us again this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. It's exciting here. The season's over now, and we just talked, it seems like a couple of weeks ago, talking about the finale and, Texas race. So excited to wrap this year up and start looking forward to 2021.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited about the conversation tonight and everything that we got coming up. So, and brought to you by the Decker Training Facility. He's a former pro turned race winning mechanic. It's Sean Taylor. What's up, Seany T?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, stoked to have you on again. I think both of you guys, when I said this to Casey earlier, when I have you guys on, I end up wanting more when the episode is over. So I'm excited to get you guys back on. Both of you guys have absolutely slated on the times that you've been on the podcast so far. So I'm pumped to dig into the finale here. Casey, you're an industry insider and a guy whose opinion I know so many of us respect. And Sean, you're a past racer and a super fan of the sport, kind of like myself. So, it's exciting, but Sean, you got a big time opportunity at South of the Border. So obviously kind of you were on the preseason podcast. So I wanted to get you back on for the season review, and it just worked out perfectly that you got a big time opportunity at South of the Border. So tell us about that and how that came about.
Yeah, I got to wrench for Joel Hetrick at the last round. It just kind of came about. His normal mechanic, Gary, had a wedding that weekend. So, and then with all COVID and everything, they moved that last round to that weekend. So I was basically just to fill in for Joel. That's how it came about. A lot of people were thrown off, I think, when, I was wrenching on his bike and stuff and, like at the early part of the weekend. But yeah, that's basically how I got the opportunity.
Okay. And because you had messaged me, I think I had kind of shot you an early message about wanting you to come on here when I knew you were going to South of the Border, and you told me that you were wrenching for Joel, and I'm like, what? Like I didn't know what happened because Gary's been there all year, right? And so I didn't know exactly how that was going to go down, which it turned out to be perfect opportunity to get you on here. So before we go forward, I mean, take me like there's a title on the line and you get inserted to like the biggest pressure situation, I guess, as a mechanic kind of. So, I mean, were you nervous? What was your,
I didn't tell many people. I told one of my very, very close friends here from home. And, I told a few people that I was wrenching for him, but I only told a couple people that I was extremely nervous. That was probably, I honestly don't think all the years I raced, I think that I was more nervous than doing that than I was, than racing. But
sure. Similar to a parent, like you would know because you're a dad, but similar to a parent, maybe you get nervous about things because it's your kid now. Like you're not the one in control. So I assume that kind of a similar feeling probably.
Yeah, definitely. And I posted on my Instagram that like Joel's like a little brother to me, I feel like. So that was, like as a parent and, taking care of kids, that's like, I've taken care of him during the day, and that's, that was my priority, to keep him safe and do my job. So yeah, I was super nervous. It was pretty wild. It was an awesome opportunity, and it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, I'm obviously, I was pumped for you. I texted you a message telling you good luck and stuff then, and I'm super stoked to hear about it tonight. So pumped to have you on, and it works out perfectly, really. We kind of got Casey to give us a broad view on things, and then Sean,
Yep.
you can kind of take us, kind of through your day with Joel and how he kind of fought to defend his title there. We all knew that Joel had to kind of be perfect on the day to give himself a chance, because Chad came in with a 10-point cushion. But man, the day kicked off with Chad taking both qualifiers, which I have to say surprised me, because I assumed Joel was going to be in Scorch the Earth Tour. So Casey, kind of take us through what you saw there at the beginning of the day, even before the racing started, with time qualifying, and tell me like a little bit more about the track, because did South of the Border end up being more like rough than years past? Kind of take me through the early part of the day there, Casey.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a different track than we've seen the last few years that we've been there, with a lot of like I explained it to a couple people, and it sounds silly, but when you're pulling into a pilot truck stop and you're getting off the interstate, and the
Yeah.
way the asphalt is like pushed in, but it's created, it's breaking bumps is the easy term for it. But just the context of the bumps, they were really, really different. I think everyone struggled the first part of the first practice or the time qualifier, and then people changed a couple settings, we changed a couple clickers here and there, and everyone started to find their groove. And Chad just edged out Joel a little bit there. Joel went out and he really thought he had it wrapped up, I think, the second qualifier, and he put in a burner and it looked like he was good, and Chad ticked off a really good lap time on like the second to last lap of qualifying, and Joel was already kind of done. And so
Okay.
it was a perfect situation though, because I played that game a lot of times back
Right.
in the day, and I never, with John and Doug and these guys, we didn't always want to be the first qualifier, because then your gate pick, you almost have to sacrifice at times to where you're going to pick your gate, because you don't want to let that guy go under you. So you
Right.
want to let them take the sacrifice, and then if you have enough balls to show up to the starting line and Chad Weenan lines up to protect the inside and you line up right next to him, that just shows you right there. And I mean,
Mhm.
I did it with John for years, whoever was first qualifier, if it was Creamer, Chad, Wimmer, whatever, and if we were second or whatever, I'd line up right on the outside of, just because people don't expect that.
It's a
And so
mental
anytime you
thing.
can
Yeah.
rattle someone's cage, which rattling Chad Winning's cage is not very easily to do, but just to rattle someone in that sense of showing the confidence. So I think it was me and Sean walking back after this in qualifier, and I looked and I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, Chad got first. And so I want to say it was Sean actually. And he's like, oh man,
I
I
think
thought
it
we
was
had
us.
first. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be second. And let's just leave him in second. We'll, line them up right on the outside of Chad and let the best man win. And that's where we went in, with the mindset going into that first moto.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And that's something I don't even know I've ever heard talked about in a public setting really before. But yeah, when you're first qualifier, you're kind of the sacrificial lamb. Like you gotta decide where to go. And then, yeah, it's going to be tough. The other person's got to decide, whether to go inside or outside, but you're kind of able to base it on where that first person goes. So yeah, totally makes sense there. And Sean, I'll ask you as our insider and Joel's kind of right-hand man on the day. He said in one of the post-race interviews that, he knew things were going to be tough because he came in 10 points back, but full disclosure, like I kind of mentioned already, I expected him to be the fastest and win both motos and let the cards fall how they may. And that just didn't really happen. So I kind of asked Casey there, but take us through like Joel's mindset at the beginning of the day. I mean, did you know it was going to be a good day for you guys? Did you know he was kind of like, I mean, I guess I'll let you take it from there. How did you feel about the day, kind of reading Joel early on?
It was a lot different than what I had in my mind how it was going to go.
Okay.
Because going in that 10 points down, we kind of talked about it on Friday night, and I was like, so what's it got to be? Blah, blah, blah. He already knew that it was going to be very tough to, try to edge something out. And basically what I told him, I was like, well, we're going to go out and win, and, but yeah, like Friday, he was kind of around the truck and everything. I was going through his bike, and the other mechanic, Jim, when Joel left for a little while, he said, man, he's acting like he's in a pretty good mood this weekend. I'm excited. I'm like, okay, good. Like that makes me even more excited. And then on Saturday, I didn't really see him right away. Where they'd parked, they weren't very close to the truck. So I didn't really see him until right before the qualifiers. But I thought that was just maybe him doing his pre-race
normal routine.
Yeah, routine. I didn't know if he'd be like hanging out right there, kind of close to where I was at, so we could talk a little bit, or but yeah, he was quiet. I would say he was a lot more quiet than what I expected him to be.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the game face maybe thing. Like I said, just expected, like, I mean, going in, and that's why I asked about the track. And I was going to ask before, did it rain? Like, was there rain in that area leading up to the weekend? Is that why the track was maybe a little different? Because with that, I guess maybe all of my expectations kind of came from that. I thought the track was going to be hard packed, which is obviously a kind of track that we think about being a Joel Hetrick style racetrack. So I just expected him to be, second fastest, faster than everybody in qualifying, get both hole shots, win the races, kind of let the cards fall how they may. And like I said, I mean, that didn't really happen. But I mean, no lack of effort on his part or anything. I mean, that's not what I'm getting at. Maybe that's more of a testament to how strong the class is. Just wanted to kind of know how Joel was acting, because I expected a dominant day from him. But in the first moto, I mean, it started, you would have thought it was kind of gearing up to at least start that way, because Joel rips the whole shot in Moto 1, exactly what he needed to do. But Chad squared up Joel with a beautiful pass really at the end of the first lap, and he took off, and it looked like that almost took the wind out of Joel's sails. Thomas actually snuck by Joel and spent the majority of the race in second. So Casey, I'll turn over to you. I have to imagine that this wasn't maybe the first moto you were expecting either. So kind of take me through that.
No, I think I was standing up in the tower, and obviously as being part of, Joel's program and, as Impact Solutions and that kind of stuff, you're looking at Joel to shine and try to do everything he can. And obviously he was out there doing everything he can. There were some underlining things that happened on the first lap that even myself, none of us really knew about, and the public really doesn't know about, but it set him back, and it took him a while to get his batteries kind of recharged, not in a physical or not in a fitness side of it, because obviously it was only first lap and we know those guys are in good shape, but it took them a while to get the adrenaline built back up, and some just little things that happened on that first lap that let those guys get away from them. And then if you look at like the last 5 laps, I mean, the dude was going insane, trying to make up time, trying to catch. He felt like he had a chance going into even the last lap, and he closed in pretty close. And obviously Chad just went out and did what he did, and I would have bet $1,000 that Chad wouldn't have passed Joel in either moto, even with the opportunity given, just because of the points and the scenario that it had to be.
Because he
didn't need to, and Chad's a champion, and Chad knows how to manage championships. So anyone that's been in that situation, and you've managed championships, Sean, same thing. Like, you're not going to go out and pass the guy and give the guy an open door to possibly clean you out or whatever. So when he went by Joel, I was just like, what in the, like, I've seen it all now.
Right.
And then here comes Thomas, and then I started seeing flashbacks of last year at Ironman when everything was kind of flip-flopped and it was, kind of in Joel's court, and Joel's all of a sudden running around like 6th place, getting passed by guys that have never passed him in their life. Right. And so I'm like, what's going on? And I didn't know what was going on. And it wasn't until after the moto, and I probably took 15, 20 minutes to go back to the truck because I was kind of scared. Like, I don't know what this kid's going to say when we get over there. Like, Joel's an awesome figure for the sport and everything, but behind, when his emotions go. So I was just kind of like, let him cool off for a second and go over there. And I seen someone walking away, or Grayson Eller actually was walking away. I said, what's the pulse like over there? And he's like, it's good. And so I walked up and talked to Joel, and he's like, yeah, this is what was going on, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, man, okay, that explains why you weren't yourself for the first 3/4 of the race.
Okay.
And it was just an incident that happened on the first lap. So,
Okay.
well,
that makes
couldn't
that
have
makes a
predicted
little
what
more
happened.
sense. It makes a little more sense when you look at the way that the race played out then for you to say that, because yeah, I mean, I was trying to figure out what was going on that took him so long to get going, and then for his fastest laps to be at the end of the race. I mean, you can look on paper and see that he was strong at the end, and it just took him a long time to get going. So that makes sense with kind of what you're saying there.
And he's so stubborn that I don't think he would even admit to what I just told you.
Okay.
If you put him up against the wall and said, "Tell me what happened," like he wouldn't tell you, and I won't tell you exactly what happened,
Right.
just
Yeah. I
because
wouldn't
it's a
ask.
personal thing that he trusts me. But
Yep.
in the team, but because he's a no bullshit, no excuse type of guy. Chad beat him, and he'll tell you flat out, Chad beat me. It is what it is. But just wild. But prediction wise, I was 110% off
Mhm.
because like I said, I would never bet Chad would have just went for a pass in that situation.
Yeah. Well, hold that thought because I'm going to ask Sean what he saw, and then I'll kind of give my thoughts there. So Sean, take us through Joel's first moto there. We kind of got a little insight, but what did you see from the mechanics area? And I mean, it was your first moto as a mechanic for Joel Hetrick. So tell us about it.
Yeah, I with Casey, I would have never bet that Chad would have made a move to try it, or to pass him, or that would even have been a situation. When Joel got the whole shot, I was so pumped, and I just thought he would have ran away with it. But yeah, pretty much Casey pretty much broke it down pretty well there, from what he saw, and that's what I noticed too. I just kind of kept watching the lap times, and I don't know, I was putting positive stuff on the pit board just because I knew something was off, and it was just going to take him a little bit to get going. And I remember it's been back. He was on a Can-Am back at Redbud, and it was kind of the same scenario. He was young back then, and he was struggling in certain sections, and I was standing there with his dad, and we were watching, and that's where it took him 3/4 of the race to just finally get that groove and the flow, and start clicking them off. And yeah, basically you saw it, the end of the moto, his lap times were incredible,
He was flying.
for what was being ran the rest of the race.
Yeah, he was flying. Yeah, I mean, Joel got up to second there, but he just couldn't catch Chad, and Chad wins the moto, adds to his points lead. And I mean, now as I'm in my mind, not knowing what you guys are saying about that first moto, but in my mind, I think it was like Chad putting an exclamation point on that championship. I'll tell you guys, and this is what I was kind of saying. I'd resume, kind of pick up where you guys stopped. Since I had already wrapped up the title in my class, and I knew that this round after Texas for the pros wasn't a winner take all. So I kind of saved my pennies and didn't travel down to South Carolina. So I spend the day at a local track up here racing a big 2-wheeled event. And I was so sure on how this day was going to go. I'm at this racetrack with minimal cell phone service, and I had a post already made saying that, it's not over yet. Joel Hetrick wins the first moto, and that didn't happen. I never got to use it because it didn't go the way that I had planned, or the way that I guess I figured. Like Casey said, I would have bet, that I would have bet the house that Chad wouldn't have tried to pass him. And I pretty much would have bet the house that he was going to win that moto, especially you just associate that kind of track with being kind of Joel Hetrick's haven. So yeah, that kind of changes things. With you guys kind of giving us a little more insight, kind of behind the scenes there. But Chad wins it. And to me, and it won't, but to me, that should silence all the people that are saying Chad only won this because of Joel's DNF at Pleasure Valley. In my mind, he was kind of in a situation. I mean, I just don't think that that's true. I don't think that one moto decided the whole thing. In a must-win scenario for Joel, Chad went out and said, 2020 is my year. Now again, there's this kind of caveat that he was dealing with something else, but yeah, I mean, either way, no matter what was going on, Chad put on a hell of a ride in that first moto, and that kind of put the icing on the cake for the rest of that thing, because now he even had a bigger gap and just one moto left. So either you guys have any thoughts on that? I mean, Chad put on a masterful effort there in that first moto.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think Chad, like any year, is just, the guy's incredible. So there's never nothing you can take from him in that sense of being the most consistent guy that I feel like we've ever seen in ATV motocross. You know, if you take his younger years, 11, 10, 9, 8 out, but from 12 to now, I mean, the consistency that the guy brings to the table is incredible. He's a champion. I mean, and he found something this year, whether it been bike setup, you know, physical fitness, a couple extra tenths here and there speed wise, but whatever he put together this year, it was an evener playing field to me, looking from the outside in and not putting any kind of feelings into the ball game, just saying, okay, here's two guys, and watching this as someone I feel like I've been around this stuff long enough that you can just look at people. Chad found something, and we've seen that first time they went on the track in Daytona. Chad was different than what I think a lot of people anticipated.
Agreed. 100%. He grabbed another gear. And I think I said this in the last episode, but how do you grab another gear at, in your late 30s? And this sport, it just doesn't happen. And he managed to do it. I would have never guessed that would have been able to happen. And I guess kind of just all of this is why I was surprised, because that's not how I saw that race going at south of the border. He just put an emphasis on it. No matter what was going on, it was like he didn't need to win, and he still made the pass and won that moto. And that was, again, just kind of, it leaves a lasting impression, at least on me, on how I'm going to think about this championship going down, because I'm just a little tired. I don't care who your guy is. For people to say that it's like there's an asterisk, next to Chad winning this championship because Joel had one DNF, I'm not on board with that. So they're both worthy champions. They had a hell of a year, like you said. It was like they one would suffer a big blow, and then the next person would too. It was just back and forth. It was like they were even, and so. Just a great first moto there. Great start to the day. And I guess here, before I move on to Moto 2, I want to give a rundown of that first moto. But it was a hell of a race. So Chad wins the first moto, like we talked about. Joel finishes second, runs his fastest lap times at the end of the moto. Thomas Brown in his last race as a professional. He gets third in the first moto there. Jeffrey Rastrelli, impressive fourth. That was his kind of first best effort of the year, I would say, in a moto there. Nick Janusa was fifth. How about Wes Lewis? Wes Lewis comes in sixth in the first moto, which was awesome. He was great on the podcast last week, saying that he's calling it a career too. So that was really cool. I was happy for Wes. Hayden Mickelson, he comes in seventh, and Sean, you wrenched for him earlier in the year. So I thought that was awesome to see. I'm sure you were pumped to see that as well.
Yeah, it was good. Both of them were up there, and
Noah finished eighth then in that moto.
But
yep.
Hayden looked like, just from my view, I'd catch him a little bit as he'd go by, and he looked like he was enjoying it out there, and he rode pretty well. I was happy for him.
Yeah, and I should have asked you too, Casey, because you work with that program. But was it what Hayden looked like? Something was different that day. What was up? Because he killed it.
Hayden looked like Hayden should.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid works his butt off, and he rips, and it just like dumb little things after dumb little things keep him back in positions that he shouldn't be in. And Noah, the same thing. I mean, Noah's got so much talent, and I think Noah, and I wish I had the fact. I have to go look at lap times again, but I want to say Noah was running fourth, fifth for quite a bit in either the first or second moto. But I mean, he was on fire.
Because Noah in the first moto, came.
Maybe he was qualifying.
Yeah. Yes.
He was like third fastest for a while.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
No, he was.
Yeah.
Yep, he was. But even that makes his first moto that much more impressive, because I got the sheet in front of me and he came from, outside the top 13 in the first moto and then finishes 8th, which I don't have to explain to you guys how difficult a feat that is. So yeah, both of the Mickelson brothers killed it in the first moto there, and they ended up having good days overall too. So that was 7th and 8th was the Mickelson brothers. 9th in the first moto was Cody Ford, another good top 10 ride for him. Troy Hill was 10th in the first moto. Logan Stanfield, Michael Allred finished 12th in his kind of pro debut there. Alan Myers. So what happened in the first moto to Alan? Did he break? I think the first moto he broke, and he was in 4th when it happened with 1 lap to go. What a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it was like literally white flag was out. I think we
Yeah.
were almost like, I was almost walking out of the tower, and I'm like, where'd Alan go? And just here he come around on the hook. So mechanical failure for him.
Right. And we'll get into this a little bit, but man, it would have really helped him in points too if he would have had the day that it looked like he was going to put together, and it was hindered by some other stuff that ended up souring his day for sure. So Brogan Geyer was 14th. Wesley Wolf, I think he crashed in the first moto. He was inside the top 5 as well when that happened. So results were kind of topsy-turvy there. And Bryce Ford, he was 3rd early and crashed. We saw that on some of the Rip It Up Films videos and highlight videos and stuff. And I think he ended up being nicked up and just kind of cruising around for the rest of the motos there. But yeah, that was our first moto rundown. So then where I was going before, the second moto went a little more as I originally expected. I think Joel grabs the whole shot and leads wire to wire. So Sean, take us through what it's like to be the mechanic for a race leader and winner, a feeling obviously Casey knows a whole lot about. What was I asked you about your stress level, but take us through the second moto there. And man, that had to be a pretty cool experience for you, because not only were you wrenching for one of the fastest dudes in the world, but you got a win now in your back pocket. You're kind of undefeated as a pro mechanic with Joel. I mean, you worked with Hayden, but it's got to be pretty cool. So take us through that second moto.
Yep. I was kind of like Casey, was about, I had to go back to the truck, obviously, but I was like, I'm not sure what the tension's going to be like when I get back over there. There was people there, and I just got back and I fist pumped him, said, nice work. Obviously, it took a while to get going again. And, but to me, I didn't give a shit about the championship. It was, I wanted to go and, made sure I had a good day, whatever. But yeah, it was, but then I didn't get to talk too much. I went straight to, getting the bike ready to go. And, yeah, I think he left his same gear on. I don't even know if he changed before the second moto. We went out there, and, yeah, I just told him, that second moto, go out and have fun and, ride your race. On the parade lap, I said, go out and, try to charge some corners, and see what the track's like, if it's gotten rougher, and, try to find lines early. So, you're ready at the beginning of the race this go around.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it looked like he had kind of a customary Joel type of performance, grabs the whole shot and kind of leads the thing wire to wire. So yeah, he ends up, Joel wins the battle, taking the second moto win and the overall, but Chad wins the war. He finishes in second, the number 2 spot on the day, which was more than enough to clinch his 7th AMA ATV Pro Class National Championship. So Casey, he's a guy, Chad is, that, you guys worked under the same tent before with Can-Am, and you guys have, been, worked alongside each other in the past and stuff. So, what can you say about this guy? I mean, he's just one title away now from tying Gary Denton. So what can you say about Chad Wienen at this point?
And there's not a lot that he doesn't say for himself, in all honesty. I mean, the program that he runs, he runs a very tight ship. That's a big key to his success over the years. One mechanical failure in umpteen years, it feels like, since 2012. So
yep.
That leads him to being the most consistent racer that I've ever seen. I mean, finished on the podium one time, and only because of that. Mechanical DNF. So I mean, a true champion, Chad Wienen. They go together like, Chad Wienen and Yamaha. It's just something that's been gelling for him. Class act, and I really hope that we get to see a lot of Chad Wienen in the future racing. And then I want to see Chad, and I don't know if there's any possibilities of this, and I'm just brainstorming or wishful thinking, but I want to see Chad stay in the game and run a program for somebody. And obviously, there's a lot of speculation that somebody could be Max Lindquist. I mean, we can throw that out there.
Yep.
But I want to see him take somebody and groom them, because I think he has a lot of knowledge that is unspoken. He's not a very outspoken person, but if he can have someone under his wing, I think
Yep.
we can see someone else come in and be very successful under the guidance of Chad Wienen.
Agreed 100%. I feel like he's one of those guys that he's acquired so much knowledge. He's learned so much over the course of his career. He's had so many growing pains. He's got so many connections, all these things, the whole package like you're talking about. And being that he kind of had to go through it all the hard way, I feel like he kind of keeps it tight to his chest, like that's his advantage. And he's not going to necessarily give that info out, and he shouldn't. But no, you're exactly right. I feel like he's got, I mean, you can't argue with his program. And that's kind of why I passed the baton on to you to kind of say, what do you say about this guy? Cause it's all been said, and he just keeps coming back, keeps figuring out a way to kind of to just do that much more. And like I said, I mean, after 6 championships, it was like, what else did he have to prove or do, and how is he going to get better? And here he is, and he's better. He's the best version of himself. And he, it became a 7th title. So it's truly crazy. Sean, I know you're buddies with Chad as well. So, I mean, I guess I'll ask you too, what do you say about the guy? I mean, can you believe that as he heads into his late 30s, kind of like I said earlier, he found a way to grab another gear? It's just, it's ridiculous. Like, he's ridiculous. It's amazing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's pretty obvious that he's unreal. And yeah, for him to just step up, find that another level this year, it seemed like, and then to, and then win one of the motos at the last round. I think I shook his hand a couple times. I think I congratulated him on Saturday night and congratulated him again on Sunday. And, we're just like, man, you killed it this year. It's like the program you run is great. And, wish him the best next year. It's good to hopefully be coming back. And it's just, those two push each other. They're the only two out there that can really go back and forth, and it's just crazy that they're pushing each other just to find the next level, to keep winning races and keep winning championships.
I mean, we sure are lucky to have those two guys, because if we just had one or the other, and I'm sure that each whatever one we would have, their level wouldn't be as high as it is because we have both of them. But it would be a boring ATV motocross world. At least it would have been for the last handful of years if we only had one of them. So as fans of the sport and people that love this thing so much, it's grateful that, or I'm grateful, I should say, that we have both of them. And I didn't want to post anything over the last week or two that was going to offend anybody. But like, to me, they're both champions. They're the 2 former champions. There's no arguing that, but they're both champions. And, last year Joel won and this year Chad won. And it's like, it's just, both of them are amazing. So before we kind of move on to the rest of this, the rest of the episode here, who, and I guess maybe both of you guys are biased, maybe not, but who is the favorite coming into 2021? Like, how do you, I mean, in my mind, it's probably 50-50, but I mean, how do you even break that down? Whoever wants to take it first.
I don't know. I would say that Joel would be the favorite going into 2021.
We kind of talked, Sean, on the podcast coming into this year. It was like, you kind of thought, I think you're the one that said, maybe Joel takes it to another level. We talked about most improved pro, right? And you talked about Joel, and, maybe he finds a way to take another step next year. But, yeah, and then I guess what we didn't assume was that Chad was going to be able to take another step so late in his career. So there's no arguing that Joel might be the slight favorite. Casey, do you have an opinion there, or do you not want to be put on the spot?
I I'm good at this in that sense of, I mean, this is all just opinions and thoughts, but I'll say it. I'm kind of by the book. So motocross nations, I feel, should be selected by the top three guys. Quadcross nations should be selected by the top three guys. Our top three guys are always American. So I think the favorite should always be the champion go into the next year.
Mhm.
Now, like, personal down, whatever, it's pretty close. I think you kind of nailed it with the 50-50 because it's up in the air on what direction this could go. But if you're going to go by the book, and I follow the book in racing a little bit sometimes, I think Chad's your favorite because he's holding the number one plate. And that's not to offend anyone. It probably actually to fire Joel up a little bit.
Right. Well, that's kind of why I asked, is because in my mind, like it is like, I don't know which way to lean as you look towards a clean slate new year. I didn't know which way to lean. That's why I'm like, oh, 50-50. That doesn't make for very much, very great podcast material. So I thought I would ask you guys instead. So, yeah, but what an effort. And obviously congrats to Big Chad on number 7. The plan is to get him on next week's episode, talk all about it. So, I mean, from one unquestioned, all-time great to another guy that'll go down as a legend as well. Thomas Brown finishes 3rd on the day. That was his 52nd career pro class podium, which is amazing. How will you guys remember T Brown as an ATV racer? Sean, I'll start with you.
He probably, if he listens to this, he knows what I'm going to say about what I'll remember him for now. Vegas is Vegas bombs. He's like the only person I know that loves Vegas bombs as much as I do. I know that's aside from racing, but I just think it's funny because it seems like anytime I'm around him, we do a lot of Vegas bombs, and we're always looking at each other like, are these ones good? Because, you go everywhere. They're all different every single time. So,
Okay.
but no, Thomas Brown's just Thomas Brown always sends it. I'll always remember him by, just sending it all the time. He was a hell of a rider, and, he had style, and I don't know, he looked good on the track. I'll always remember him by that.
Yeah, that aggression and that style. Nobody else really has it. At least not that stance that he's got. It's
Yeah.
very typical T Brown style. So Casey, I'll send it over to you then. How will you remember Thomas Brown as an ATV racer? Because there's definitely going to be a void left behind when he's gone.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest memory, what I will remember Thomas Brown at 16 years old, driving his big toter. And I was like born and raised California kid at the time. And just seeing this kid turn the corner in this huge rig. And I'm like, what do we have going on here? And I think that's going to stem out to be what is one of the most long lasting impressions of Thomas. And that's not to discredit any of his career. It's actually an honor because I think that showed his responsibility and maturity at such a young age. And that's really what I've seen from Thomas over the years is he's not ever really stepped out of bounds much. And it's because of, the way his dad and, his mom raised him and the maturity they forced him into. He was driving that rig all over the country at 16. So that's like the biggest thing. I mean, we've definitely had plenty of really good times. Still wondering where the Vegas bombs were Saturday night, Sean. We probably didn't need them, but yeah, I mean, class act, very mature rider. He will be missed.
Yeah, no doubt he'll be missed. I think that I really liked what I'll probably remember about him most is the way that he kind of morphed from being a guy who, and I'm younger than Thomas, so kind of looked up to him, but he went from being a guy with kind of the Yamaha factory affiliation, having a big rig and everything, and kind of transitioning into, he rode for Chad, and then he kind of did his own thing, and then he just started to do it within his means. And he was, going to the races in like a truck and trailer, like mine and like so many other people's, and still finishing on the podium every weekend in the pro class, which I thought like that's my biggest thing that I think is so cool is he found a way to continue to do it for as long as he wanted to do it and still do it within his means. In my mind, that's badass. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, credit to him on a killer career. I mean, I think you gotta, in my mind, he might be in the top 10. I told him that he might be in the top 10 of, kind of the greats, because for doing it for so long, look at all the guys he raced against, and he was winning motos, for a 10-year span. So it's a crazy successful career for him. 52 podiums, which is an amazing number. And yeah, killer job, getting another podium to cap this thing. And hell of a career for Thomas. So he'll be missed for sure. We plan to get Thomas on. We kind of talked about it on a previous episode to kind of dig deeper into the entirety of his career. And that's kind of what I'm excited to hear about, is those earlier days, like Casey referenced when he was a younger kid and kind of coming up, because I remember those days, like, little Thomas Brown, and he was just nasty on a quad, like in Pro-Am and stuff. He was like a little gnat. He just, he wouldn't go away. So yeah, excited to hear about that. So let's run down the second moto finishes here then. So we got Joel obviously won the second moto there, took the overall. Chad finishes second. Thomas rounds out the podium, like we said. Jeffrey Rastrelli, which was another fourth for him, which was awesome. Fourth overall on the day. So super happy to see that for Jeffrey, because Texas did not go the way that he had hoped. And he wasn't obviously happy with how everything went there. So at least ended the season on a high note for Jeffrey. That made me super pumped to see that. Nick Janusa, he came into the day with, kind of battling for the final top 5 spot in points. He goes 5-5 on the day, which was good for him for 5th overall. How about Troy Hill? Kind of like Wes Lewis in the first moto. Troy Hill finishes 6th in the second moto, and amazing ride for him. So that was really cool. We kind of talked about Hayden already. He finishes 7th. That made for a 6th overall day for him. Wes Lewis ends his pro career with 8th in that moto, which was impressive. Noah finished 9th, so he kind of capped another good day for him. 10th was Logan Stanfield. Cody Ford was 11th. Bryce Ford, like I kind of said before, he was nicked up some, but he finished the second moto there in 12th. Brogan Geyer finished 13th. Wesley Wolf 14th. Alan Myers, kind of talked about this before, much like the first moto where he had mechanical. Second moto, he was running 5th, and so it looks like it could have been another great day for Alan. Top 5 day, maybe 4th or 5th day for him, and he crashes. Looks like a gnarly crash on the videos that I saw. So that could have been a really good day for him. So it's a shame for Alan to end his season that way. A season that saw him really take some major steps forward. A number of top 5s. He finished on the podium at the opener, and he could have been in the running. He would have been, like I said, a clear top 5 guy on the day, and crashed in that second moto. And then looks like Michael Allred rounded out the field in 16th. So yeah, let's kind of recap the overalls on the day. So Joel, Chad, Thomas, Jeffrey 4th, Nick Janusa 5th. We talked about Hayden. He was 6th overall. Wes Lewis was 7th. Again, Troy Hill finishes 8th overall on the day, which was great. Noah finished 9th. Cody Ford rounded out the top 10 on the day. So as we recap the season points here, kind of just to put a bow on this thing, there's a lot of things that were expected, I guess, when we kind of sat down to do the preseason show, and there's a lot of surprises too. So, Chad wins the championship. Joel finishes 2nd. We kind of talked about that top tier with Thomas rounding out the top 3 in points there. And, Bryce, rookie of the year, Bryce Ford. I didn't mention that to this point. Rookie of the year, Bryce Ford. Congrats to him. He finishes 4th. Not a total surprise that he finished 4th, but fast qualifiers, whole shot awards, laps led, podiums. He was so impressive. I mean, I said it on the last episode. He somehow found a way to live up to and surpass the hype, but he beat a lot of good guys consistently. And by the end of the year, to be a constant podium threat, it's pretty amazing. And kind of leave that open-ended for you guys to put in your 2 cents worth. I know Casey, we talked about it in the last episode in depth. There was people saying we should have called it the Bryce Ford show, but he deserved it after what he did in Texas. How much of a step forward do you picture him having next year? Because I feel like he's going to go to the opener and he's going to plan to win. So Casey, we'll start with you. Bryce Ford finishes 4th in points. At the beginning of the year, where would you have expected him to finish 4th in points? Like, is this higher than you expected, lower than you expected, or right where you expected him to be?
It's a little of both of where I expected him to be, but in honesty, like he caught a good stride in the middle of the season, and that's really what put him into that 4th in points. His
Yes.
consistency leveled out really good. Besides Virginia having a bad moto, and obviously south of the border didn't go as planned. His arm was pretty banged up. I talked to him quite a bit Saturday night and even checked on him again on Sunday just to see how he was feeling, and his arm was pretty rough looking. So,
okay,
I mean, I'd give him 4th. I don't know that I had any true expectations because I don't feel like that's fair when someone comes in with that's just as much hype as him. Like, so he already had enough pressure. So, like, yeah, like I'm not going to give him any pressure. He don't care what I think. But like, I just leave him be. Just let's see what he does. Let's see what the kid goes out there and does. But speed wise, we knew he was going to be fine, and he obviously proved that. Consistency wise, little bit up and down, but actually not as peak and valley as I anticipated. And no pop shot to him, just in general. It's a learning experience. You were a rookie once. Sean was a rookie. Like, your peaks and valleys are typically huge. But consistency wise, he was pretty good. So I think he's inserting himself into, I would think that he goes home this winter, and every one of these guys that's going to race or be in there next year needs to go home and train like they're going to win next season. So that's what he better be doing, because that's what you're doing as a racer.
for sure. Where I wanted to see where your thoughts was coming into the season. If you told me he was going to finish 4th in the points, I wouldn't have necessarily been surprised, probably, because he was very dominant, obviously, last year in Pro-Am. Like, you knew his speed was there, but it was kind of the way he did it. He, like I said, with being fast qualifier, getting hole shots, which you probably expected, leading laps, being that consistent podium threat, like he got better and better and better and better and better. It was the way he did it. He was flashy, and he wasn't just the 4th best guy necessarily. Like, at the end, he was pushing for those podium spots, dicing it up with those guys. We didn't see, kind of the full slate of it at the finale, but the impression he left on us in Texas was something none of us are going to forget. So kind of wanted to see your thoughts there. Sean, we picked him to be the rookie of the year. You knew if he was healthy, that was going to happen. I mean, did he surprise you at all? Or was it just, if nothing else, he did what maybe he was expected to do. And I've been saying this all year, but the expectations were so high that in itself is amazing.
Yeah. I think he lived up to it. I think, you broke it down pretty well. Casey explained it pretty well. I think even though he didn't have a very good day at south of the border, he still knows where he's at. And, he's taking that home with him to work on through the winter. So I think you're going to see a pretty excited, Bryce Ford coming out in 2021, probably expecting to win, or is going to have that mentality.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be really exciting to see kind of what kind of growth he can have, heading into his sophomore season in the pro class. So he finished 4th in points. Nick Janusa was 5th for the 6th consecutive year, being a 4th or 5th, a pro, top 5 pro, been a top 5 pro every year for his professional career. So good for Nick. That was, he kind of had to fight his way back there. And he, like I said, he came into the final round fighting for that spot with both Allen and Wesley. They were all within 5 points of that top 5 spot. And, tough luck for Allen and Wesley both. They both had days there that just didn't give them a chance to fight for that top 5 spot. So they end up 6th and 7th in points. And Wes Lewis finished 8th in points, which was, awesome. So I'll break some news now. I didn't know exactly how I was going to do this, if I was going to keep it a secret or whatever, but we're giving out an award for most improved pro, because that's not really something that exists. And at the beginning of the year, we kind of talked about who we thought our most improved pro would be. Well, none of us picked Wes Lewis, but Wes Lewis is going to get the award. And I kind of came into it the last handful of weeks, thinking that Allen was going to be the guy. Allen had really looked the part of a guy that ascended, and he did. But there was 2 guys clearly that when you looked at the points, looked at where they were last year, looked at where they are this year, there was 2 guys. It was Allen and Wes. Well, Allen finished 8th in points last year, 6th in points this year. He was going to be higher. Things would be different if he wouldn't have had those few DNFs, because he had kind of a crappy round in Texas. The finale wasn't good for him, so that would have changed things, and I feel bad for him there. He actually scored the exact same amount of points this year as he did last year, so there's a tangible way to look at this. Wes scored 57 points more this year than he did last year. He had never finished in the top 10. He finishes 8th in points this year. He goes from 13th to 8th. Stinks to see him walking away from, the sport. A guy who's I've been calling him this, like the working class hero. And he's been killing it. So Wes is going to get our most improved pro award, the first annual Digging Deep most improved pro award, and super pumped for him. To finish 8th in points is extremely, extremely impressive. 9th in points ended up being Jeffrey Rastrelli. He actually, that best day of the year for him, got him in the top 10. Not that Jeffrey cares about that, but that finale, that 4th at the finale, gets Jeffrey into the 9th spot, and the 10th spot in points ends up being our second highest finishing rookie, Logan Stanfield. And Logan was kind of all of our picks at the beginning of the year to be the next highest placing rookie. We kind of created a scenario in which, if Bryce didn't count who would be rookie of the year, we had said Logan, and that was kind of the consensus on that episode. And that's how it ended up being. So top 10 for Logan, and he looks like a guy that could be a player in years to come. Down the stretch, he finished really strong. He had a 5th overall and a 6th overall. He looks like a guy that can be up in the mix, and that'll be very, very exciting. Just more guys down the stretch next year that are going to be in the running for this thing. So let's turn it over back to you guys. So 11th in points was Brandon Hogue. He suffered that injury in Virginia that prematurely ended his season. He looked like arguably the best guy at the opener, or he was very close to it. He won his heat race, and he thought he blew the start. And if you wouldn't have blown the start in the main event, he thought he was going to win the main event there at Daytona. So he grabbed another podium this season, which is exactly what Sean expected him to do on the preseason show. What do you expect from him next year? And Sean, we'll start with you. It looks like he's kind of looking for an opportunity based on some IG posts that I've seen. Maybe his plans aren't yet set in stone, but if he's back at the races, he's on a good program, he's healthy, man, it still looks like him and Bryce could be kind of that maybe that battle for that top 3 spot. There's going to be other guys that come in there and kind of try to join in. So, Sean, what do you expect from Brandon? I think next year could be exciting.
Yeah. I kind of like what you said with his post. It kind of seems like there's not really anything set in stone as of right now. But if so, I would expect him to be battling for a top 3 spot, just kind of where, he was throughout the season. Cause I thought he was pretty consistent throughout the season from what I remember. And yeah, he was right. Him and Bryce Ford went back and forth, and he was always up there in the qualifying or the qualifiers. So if he has something, gets something figured out, and is on a machine, yeah, he would definitely be battling for a top 3 spot.
So both of those guys, they were kind of had inverted seasons because Brandon was so fast at the beginning. Bryce, and take the injury out of it, but at the beginning of the season, Bryce was so good here at the end. It was going to be very fun down the stretch to see what was going to happen between those two guys. They were kind of fighting for that 4th spot in points. But yeah, their 1 lap speed, both of them, is undeniable, and they're both fit. And I think they're both going to be even fitter going forward. Casey, I want your opinion on that. What do you see from Brandon Hogan? I think you've been on these episodes a few times saying he's going to be a player going forward. So what do you look for Brandon Hogan going into 2021?
Yeah, I think he's a solid fit in there. I think it's a tight fit for that 3rd position with Thomas Brown out there. If we're just going to take Chad and Joel and throw them into 1st and 2nd, it's a very tight fit between a number of guys, and it's very, very unknown at the moment. I feel terrible, and I literally have lost sleep over this since the last time we did this show, when we talked about what we've seen in the future and who was going to battle, and we all kind of agreed upon Max Lindquist, Bryce Ford, and what I feel terrible about is I truly feel it's not going to be a two-man show going forward. I think you got Brandon Hogue that's going to be a big input into that because of his sheer determination. And you've known him since he was a little guy.
Oh, yeah.
And watched how his progression, how fast. So I think Brandon's a very solid spot for 3rd. Bryce is obviously a very solid spot for 3rd. Alan Myers, another one. I think Logan Stanfield is going to be another one. I think he learned a lot. Max Lindquist. And off of topic, and I want to put it on paper or put it into this right now with us all 3, and it's very early.
Okay.
Because I wasn't involved with where do we see Bryce Ford finishing in 2020. So where do we see Max Lindquist finishing in 2021?
5th. I see him 5th.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever even seen him ride. I saw him on that 250R on Friday, but all I've heard is talk. So
Chad Wienen a foot shorter.
Yeah, I know who he is. I know who he is.
That's all you need to know about his riding.
The thing is to be 16 years old and ride like this was his first season on a 450. I just can't believe we saw what we saw from him. And I so wish we would have been able to see him go pro at the end of the season after he wrapped up the Pro-Am Championship, because I truly believe he would have been a factor for that 6th, 7th spot. Like, not to disrespect anybody, but I almost like no doubt in my mind. Like, that's how I feel like he would have factored in now. If he's able to be healthy, I mean, I think he's a 5th place guy, 6th, 5th, maybe 5th is the ceiling, but I think he's so consistent. He's so mature for a young kid. I think the floor is 6th or 7th, like, I feel like he fits right in there. Casey, what do you think? Where do you see him finishing?
I hate to follow your lead with that, but I think 5th is a solid equation for him. Yep. But I almost want to call it like a 4th and a half.
Okay.
Because I think at some point in the season, early on, maybe he ends up being 4th in points for quite a while, and then maybe has a rookie mistake or something silly, and it bumps him to 5th. But dude, I'm like bubble guts over next season because the amount of times I've seen Allen run 4th. Yep. At one point in Virginia, he was catching Thomas. Mm-hmm. Even in Texas, he was catching 3rd at times and come from so far back. So you can't discount it. But I will go with a solid 5th. I think the bottom 7th, the highest, is the top. I mean, you could go to 1st, but his consistency and smoothness, and then the knowledge that's being dumped into his program by Chad, I think keeps the mechanicals out of it and lets him click things off to the right direction.
Agreed. He's got a great program there. He's got great parents, and he's a dedicated little guy. I mean, he is such a competitor. Like, there's people that are just cut out to be gnarly athletes that are just got a kind of a different mental tick to them. He's one of those guys. I did see that he suffered a pretty gnarly shoulder separation in the last couple days. I don't think he's going to have surgery, but he's definitely going to be off the bike for a few months here now. So hopefully,
was that at the GNCC?
No, it happened in his backyard, like 20 miles up the road from me. So,
oh, no way.
Yeah. So
because he raced the GNCC last weekend.
Yeah, he did. So thankfully, he kind of got through the season there, had a killer season. But yeah, he kind of suffered a little issue there. So I've been through the shoulder separation thing. Thankfully it's the off season for him. He just needs to get right and get back, but I can't wait. He's one of those guys. I mean, last year we couldn't wait to see where Bryce was going to fall. And next year, I can't wait to see where he's going to fall. I don't know what's going to happen with, and I didn't have this on my list to talk about, but I don't know where Zach Decker is going to factor in, if he'll stay in Pro-Am another year and kind of do the Pro-Am Pro Mod thing, or if he'll move up. We'll see. I mean, I would assume he would have moved up if he wouldn't have got hurt. So I don't know what to expect there, but yeah, I mean, it's a log jam at the top, kind of the back half of the top five there. Brandon's shown that he has what it takes to get podiums, and his one lap speed is undeniable. I think with the right program, he could be for sure the guy that, if nothing else, pushes Bryce forward for that top three spot. With that's kind of now vacant with Thomas being gone, but the entirety of Bryce's program is so damn good. With his one lap speed, he's proven he's been quite consistent, like Casey said. Plus his bike is so good. And I don't know if I said this already, but his hole shots are so good. So he starts up front. I just have a hard time going against him, maybe being a top three guy all the time. So he's a hard guy to bet against. That's for sure.
We talked about guys in the future, Max Lindquist, Zach Decker. Zach's another one I think that's going to fall in there in the future. Zach's going to stay Pro-Am again next year, I think, is what makes right for him, and that's the right call.
Yes.
But Bryce is going to be tough. Noah Mickelson could insert himself in there. There is a log jam right now, and there's so many uncertainties and unknowns with I hate that we keep saying it, third place, because any one of those guys could actually show up next year and challenge for first and second place.
I agree. I mean, I think truly believe that Bryce is going to, like you said, in his mind, but he's going to be preparing to be in the mix with those front two. I guarantee that's what he's thinking. And I mean, we were already talking about it last year at this time, but Brandon Hogue is also going to be thinking, hey, I need to win, especially after what happened this year. I mean, he was up in the mix early. Then this year he gets hurt, kind of loses the second part of the season, or at least the last part of the season. He's going to come out and think, I need to make hay while the sun shines. And he's going to come out, I think, in a blaze of glory or something like that. But he's going to go to the gate thinking he should win. So it's going to be interesting. So
I have text messages from Brandon.
Okay.
I have text messages from Brandon saying, I'm going to win races next year. So I had the same text message last year, and I believed him then, but I believe him 10 times more now.
So I guess I was going to ask about this before, but I don't know what happened. But at the beginning of the year, he thought he should win. And at the very beginning of the year, he looked like he was going to win or die trying or something. And then I don't know if it just kind of tuckered out or what happened. I mean, the class is so fast, when you finish sixth in a moto or whatever, like there's no shame in that. But at the beginning of the year, it was like he wasn't going to be denied. I think that probably a lot of that has to do with getting starts. When the class is that fast, you just need to get a start. But if he can get his starts right, like he's kind of done down the stretch at times, and man, I don't know, just some of those Daytona rides, and then listening to him after Daytona, because he was one of the biggest talking points at Daytona with the way he qualified. I think he was second in qualifying behind Joel, and he won his heat race, and he came on the show saying he was going to the line to win the main event. Guaranteed that's what's going to happen next year. He's going to be going to the line to win these races. I guarantee it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that'll be another guy. I mean, it's exciting for us. It's exciting for us as fans to kind of see what's going to happen here down the stretch. So we'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. Before Digging Deep was even a reality, back when it was just an idea, CST Tires already believed in us, which is fitting because no one believes in their tires more than I do. Our title sponsor, CST Tires, and their Pulse MXR tires continue to hook every rider strong enough and willing to grab a handful of throttle after mounting them on their ride. Used by Thomas Brown to win races and clinch a third straight Quad Cross of Nations title, Nick Janusa when he grabbed his first career Pro Class podium, and myself, Cody Jansen, as I rode my Pulse MXR fronts and white label soft compound rears to a 2019 National Championship in the Junior 25 Plus class. The Pulse MXR tire, available in soft and standard compounds, offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. Visit CSTTires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. CST Tires, where passion meets the ground.
Anybody that I've gotten to try them, I've heard nothing but positive things back.
We're proud to be Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATV MX podcast. Why choose Yamaha? Look no further than Chad Wienen's 6 championships in the past 8 seasons aboard his Yamaha YFZ 450R. Not to mention, Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing, and their support of this podcast proves it. For the 2020 ATV MX season, Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program will offer payout and prize opportunities, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ 450R. For more information, head to YamahaOutdoors.com and follow them on social media at Yamaha Outdoors today. All hail Blue Crew, the #1 OEM supporter of ATV racing. For over 150 years, Valvoline has led the charge by being dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, and for the better part of a decade, I've been fortunate enough to be part of the historically great Team Valvoline. From my commuting vehicles to small engines, race quads, and everything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline in all of my equipment. I've experienced increased function and durability, as well as a longer life expectancy thanks to Valvoline's array of products and lubricants. Since 1866, Valvoline has been focused on bettering your experience, whether on road, on track, and everywhere in between. Upgrade to Valvoline today and check them out at valvoline.com. SSI Decals is a name synonymous with ATV racing, synonymous with big-time success, and absolutely synonymous with the best-looking decals around. An offshoot of their parent company that was established in 1947, SSI first took shape from owner Ian Harris's passion for ATVs. With what started as just making numbers and decals for riders like Chad Wienen, the company quickly took off, and today you couldn't imagine ATV motocross without SSI decals. The graphics maker and designer now supports all the top teams in ATV motocross, as well as teams and riders racing GNCC, Work Series, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Canadian Pro Motocross, short course off-road trucks, UTVs, snowcross, and, oh yeah, 6-time NHRA World Champion Clay Milliken. No project is too big or too small for SSI decals, making your identity stick with championship-level graphics. Head over to SSIDecals.com today and then maybe call the doctor, because things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATV MX podcast is brought to you in part by DID Racing Chain and their 520 ATV2 chain. This patented X-ring chain boasts a steel alloy construction for reduced weight, increased strength, and a longer overall chain life, making it the optimal ATV racing chain. Pick up an ATV2 chain today at your local dealer or wherever DID chains are sold. Don't forget about their motocross, off-road, and street bike chains as well. Wherever you go, go with DID.
Hello listeners, this is Chad Wienen, 6-time AMA ATV Pro National Champion, an owner of Wienen Motorsports and proud partner of Digging Deep ATV MX podcast. The two of us share a strong passion for ATV MX. Owning my own team gives us the ability to handpick the best products on the market for our racing program. With consistent testing, research, and development, we are confident that when choosing the products we believe in, our customers will be satisfied in building their own race program as well. We race what we sell. With brands like Fox Shocks, Walsh Racecraft, SSI Decals, Wrath Racing, and Hinson Racing, just to mention a few, go to check out wienermotorsports.com to see the full lineup. Enter discount promo code DIGDEEP at checkout. Enough talking already. Get out and get some fresh air and go ride. Hope to see you at the track soon.
We are proud to be partnered with Numera Technologies. Since 2001, Numera has led the charge in the ATV and side-by-side market, covering more applications than anyone else in the industry. Numera's advanced piston technology uses a NASA-exclusive aluminum alloy that helps to reduce expansion rates, that allows for tighter tolerances, and leads to higher overall engine performance for your machine. For more information about Numera's wide offerings of pistons, rings, gaskets, and industry-leading top-end repair kits, visit your local dealer or online at www.numera.com. Numera Technologies, pistons with an attitude. We are pleased to be partnered with Bronco ATV and UTV components. Bronco has been an industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. With a catalog that includes a full line of electrical components, engine internals like rods and cylinders, all the way down to suspension parts and bearing kits. Bronco is your hard part source for whatever you need for whatever you ride. Available exclusively through distributors around the world. Visit your local dealer or online at broncoatv.com. The Digging Deep ATV MX podcast is also sponsored by DP Brakes, a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology. DP has been dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheeled racers on the planet. 2020 is no different, with an impressive lineup including AMA ATV Pro Class champion Joel Hetrick and Phoenix Racing Honda team, Cody Jansen and his 2019 Junior 25+ National Championship, Baldwin Motorsports, Nick Januza, Wesley Wolf, and much more in the ATV motocross. In GNCC Racing, DP has 16 of the top 17 pros heading into 2020. This includes the champ Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Chris Borich, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and more. These riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on the top of the podium. Available at www.dp-brakes.com. Purchase at your local dealer or message us for the contact info today. What are you waiting for? Join the best ATV riders in the world on DP Brakes. Forworks Carbon's innovative lightweight products include top-notch seat covers, carbon fiber and plastic hoods, gas tank covers, exhaust shields, shock guards, and much more. Whether you have an ATV, UTV, or snowmobile, Forworks has the goodies that will improve your ride and make you salivate. We trust Forworks for increased function and a sexier look, and you should too. Forworks Carbon, always working hard to bring high quality and innovative parts to the market. Check them out today at fwcarbon.com.
Just like the sport of ATV motocross as a whole, our Digging Deep community is brought together by the love for racing that we all share. Our sport is compiled of many great people, and leading that charge is the Launderville family at Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply. This racing-owned family business is a steel and concrete supplier serving the entire United States. Launderville Steel is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products, headlined by their 4130 chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for ATVs and UTVs, off-road truck racing, late model dirt and pro tractor pulling series, drag racing, and more. Launderville Steel loves their racing just as much as we do, but don't forget about their concrete division as well. With over 25 years of experience, the Concrete Division can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. Their central Midwest location enables LSE to easily serve customers across the United States. For a quote, additional info, answers to more of your questions, or to talk a little racing, head over to laundervillesteel.com or give them a call today. We are proud to be partnered with yet another racer-owned company. Thank you, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply. We are proud to be partnered with Gripped Gloves. Gripped is an ATV rider-owned and operated brand with the rider in mind and the goal of keeping costs affordable. The Michigan-based family operation recognizes riders' desire to showcase their identity. Owner David Payne's love for eccentric colorways and crazy patterns shows in his product, something not often found in the work of big manufacturers. Here to push stereotypes and limitations, Grip's drive is to produce a glove with cool colors and designs that won't break the bank. With comfort and quality as key motivators, the family affair is constantly working on the next more innovative and improved glove. Get a grip on life, join the gripped movement, because no one wants a bland glove. Check them out today at grippedgloves.com, that's GRIPT gloves.com, and use discount code DIGGINGDEEP10 to save at checkout. If you were to guess, on average, how many days people in the U.S. have to wait to see a doctor, what would you say? Americans have to wait around 29 days to see a doctor in major U.S. cities. And if you're dealing with a condition like erectile dysfunction, you want treatment ASAP. That's why our friends at Roman have spent years building a digital platform that can connect you with a licensed doctor in your state, all from the comfort of your home. Roman makes it convenient to get the treatment you need on your schedule. Just grab your phone or computer, complete a free online visit, and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. If the doctor decides that treatment is right for you, Roman's Pharmacy can ship your medication to you with free 2-day shipping. You also get free unlimited follow-ups with your doctor anytime you have questions or want to adjust your treatment plan. With Roman, there are no commitments and you can cancel anytime. So if you're struggling with ED, go to getroman.com/digging for your free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's getroman.com/digging for your free online visit and free 2-day shipping. We are also proud of our partnership with Factory 43. Factory 43 was born in 2007, making Nerf bars for the Suzuki LTR, Honda TRX 450R, and Yamaha's YFZ 450. The brand soon added bumpers and grab bars, and for years now has offered parts for all sport quads. The racer-owned company strives to offer a quality product that installs easy, looks good, and holds up over time. For 2020, Factory 43 is the aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing Honda team, providing riders like Joel Hetrick, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Chris Borich, and Grayson Eller with the motocross and cross-country versions of their Evo Nerf bar and MX-style front bumpers. Head over to factory43atv.com to see their full line of products. Thanks to Factory 43. We are excited to dig deep with the support of Bikes, Trikes, and Quads, LLC. Celebrating their 10-year anniversary this May, the company was started by former racers selling three-wheeler parts out of a barn in upstate New York. Through hard work, accompanied by offering great service to their customers, BTQ LLC now has over 40,000 new and used parts in stock. But they haven't forgotten their roots, still offering used OEM parts for three-wheelers, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides. Parts are in stock and ready to ship with delivery within 3 days, including free shipping on orders over $50. Use discount code ATVMX at www.btqllc.com for $10 off orders of $50 or more. We're grateful to have Bikes, Trikes, and Quads LLC digging deep with us. Support our industry's grassroots businesses. Thank you, BTQ LLC. The Decker Training Facility at County Line MX is now open. This premier motocross training compound is located in beautiful Fountain, Florida, about a 40-minute drive from Panama City Beach. Their rapidly growing facility consists of a pro-level national track, amateur and youth tracks, woods loop, and mountain bike trails. Everything you need to train comfortably all winter long is available on site, including private cabins, a full gym, RV hookups, bathhouses, garage, dump station, wash bays, and more. With accommodations for riders across the country and around the world, the Decker Training Facility will help you become the best rider you can be. Sign up for a group training session or a private lesson with nationally ranked pros. Train tougher, smarter, and harder this off-season at one of Florida's most luxurious facilities. For more information, go to DeckerTrainingFacility.com or find them on Facebook and Instagram. Decker Training Facility, your elite training experience.
We are proud to be partnered with Avocado Green Mattresses. We all know that sleep and rest are an important part of any athlete's routine. Avocado's line of natural mattresses and pillows provide exactly the support you need to ensure you perform at your best while doing the best for the planet. The Avocado mattress offers zoned back support with an internal support unit, meaning whether you are recovering from a hard day of riding or relaxing on a Sunday morning, you will be experiencing next level comfort. You can rest in peace knowing the components in your mattress and pillow are non-toxic, natural, and sustainably sourced. And getting your Avocado Green mattress could not be any easier. They offer a 100-night sleep trial, free shipping and return pickups, and a 25-year warranty. And if that wasn't enough, Rest assured knowing they have 5-star ratings by verified customers, including some of the Digging Deep staff. Step up your sleep game by visiting avocadomattress.com.
Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. This seems like a good time to transition into our listener questions to finish the show. Last week, CST Tires offered a full set of Pulse MXR ATV tires. This week, they've given us a pair of CST mountain bike tires to reward one lucky listener. So, we touched on this a little bit. So we'll ask Sean because he wasn't on last week's episode. We discussed this a little bit as in this last segment, but we're going to put him on the spot, hold him down. He's got to give us an answer. So who do you think will be the most consistent to fill the void left behind from Thomas Brown? Will it be Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Brandon Hogue, Alan Myers, Max Lindquist, or other? This is a listener question now. One answer, Sean.
I'm going to say Bryce Ford.
All right, Bryce Ford. I agree. Casey, how is the best way to get kids involved in ATV racing? I would say it starts on a local level, but what do you think?
Yeah, definitely local level. Come out to a couple nationals, and these guys are all human, and they're very receptive to seeing and being with the fans and talking to them. I mean, obviously this year, 2020, COVID-19 stuff inhibited that a little bit on the social interaction that those guys could have. I think at times they tried to do the best they could on interacting and making everyone feel as welcome as possible. But yes, local level, entry level quads, and getting the kids out there. And it doesn't always have to be, we get to this level of professionalism and professional racing that everything's so dwelled on racing and winning. Everyone has to win. My oldest daughter, I swore up and down, my kids won't race. And I have this bug. Like, me and Sean talked about it with, he's got 2 kids, and we talked about it. And I'm like, I wish she could race a 90, like the TRX 90, just because it's so cheap. Put her on it, set the throttle, stop, put it in second gear, and just go. I don't care how she does. I just want her on that track, learning that competitive nature, because the competitive nature that you learn from racing will make you prosper in life. Give you goals, give you objectives of what to do in life. So I'm on the hunt for an LT50 right now, just so I can put her, I got 2 local TT tracks that are national caliber TT tracks. I have national races that I can just take her, set the throttle, stop, put her in gear, and just let her go around the track. And then, eventually I'll start bringing her into the national scene, as long as my wife lets me do what my bright idea that I have. But it doesn't always have to be the crazy 50 dad running down the side of the track, spending gobs and gobs of money. Go and do it. Why we started doing this is for the fun and having fun. Gloop does a good job at showing the fun in the, with Riveted Films, showing the fun in the pits and that kind of stuff. And no negativity. As you, as an ambassador for the sport, Sean, myself, all of us, and some of these guys that carry a lot of gout in the sport, they need to not show the negative. Oh, this sport's dead. Get rid of that shit. Let's be done with it. Let's show positivity. I've preached this over and over, and it pisses me off. Like, I get fired up about it. Let's show positivity in the sport, because that's what's going to draw, the neighbor guy in that sees Sean over there with his kid riding around on TRX 90, because I know Sean has a TRX 90 and his kids ride it all the time through the neighborhood, I'm sure. And they're like, oh, what's up with this? And they walk in Sean's garage. He's got posters of himself. Oh, you were something, cool. How do I get into it? That's the positivity that we need.
You're exactly right. I think you hit the nail on the head that it doesn't need to be this big, monstrous ordeal at the beginning, because we all started on a very modest level. That's how it always starts. So, I know I got this question from a dad that said that he's got a young child and a couple twins that are are like newborns, and they want to just take baby steps on getting into the sport. And just like you said, I think that it's you find something that they can ride, you find a place where they can ride and race locally, and you start them that way. That's how we all started, and kind of tiptoe your way into the national scene, just like you're wanting to do, Casey, with your kids. So let's move on to the next one. Is there a way for ATV Moto to piggyback off the success and growth of UTV racing on a local level? In short, no, I don't think so. As ATV racers, we can't really merge events because the tracks are far too different. Even if you wanted to run a TT style, like if you're talking about the off-road truck style tracks, you'd have to ride like TT style. I mean, you'd have to run TT style bikes or something, but with motocross tires, or, I mean, it just wouldn't work, I guess, in short, in my mind. Like similar to the last question, it needs to start on a local level. We need motocross tracks to regularly allow quads to ride and race for, I think, for our sport to grow. I don't think it has anything to do with UTVs. I just don't think there's any way around it. But do you guys have any input on that?
I can agree with you. I mean, I can see the local level. I'll preach a local level there, and hit your local national that year. If you're from New York, come to Unadilla. If you're from Tennessee, come to Muddy Creek, whatever it is. Our entries are still better than any UTV race out there. So people are going to preach it all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I love UTVs. I raced UTVs for a very long time. If people want to talk about money, let's not even go there, because that's way more expensive than coming and racing ATVs. So yeah, I don't think there's a real way to piggyback off of it. I think there could be a way to bring maybe some side-by-sides in. I know the New England ATV UTV series up in the New England area has a couple different UTV classes. They have a youth UTV class. So okay. I think that's pretty cool. We've brought it up to Racer Productions in the past, and it's probably not a big secret in the world that Carrie Joe and the Coombs family are not UTV fans.
Right.
And nothing against them. They're just smart people. They know what insurance is. They know what, a 1,500 to 2,000 pound car with 250 horsepower can do. So
right.
They try to keep that controlled.
And I like what the NEATV is doing and has done, and it's probably a decision that they had to, they have to have UTVs probably to sustain the series and stuff, like to increase their numbers and all that stuff. Like, that's great. But yeah, in my mind, like in Wisconsin and the Midwest, I mean, Sean's here too, like with, I guess here you affiliate UTV racing with the short course, like off-road truck stuff. So you're not gonna, those tracks are too big and too spread out, and no obstacles. What would be obstacles for us on ATVs, like that wouldn't work. And then if you put UTVs on our motocross tracks, like that wouldn't be ideal for the majority of like side-by-side people either. So I guess where I was going with this whole question, because you get it all the time. So UTVs aren't something that I enjoy necessarily talking about, but I wanted to be able to at least include one of these questions and say that I just don't think that they correlate. I think for people to say that there are some series, some local series and stuff where UTVs are doing well, national series, whatever. But it's just two completely different deals. They're different sports, different everything, so they don't correlate in my mind. So we got this next question here. Where do you see the sport in 5 years? I guess I'll start by saying I would say that I think it's going to be right where we are now. I think that there's people involved right now that won't let it diminish, and I feel like the health of the sport on a national level is quite strong. Kind of like Casey just said, we know the numbers over the last 2-3 years haven't really fluctuated. What do you guys think? Do you see much change coming in the next 10 years? Sean, I'll start with you, because you've been around for as long as I have. The sport isn't a ton different than it was 5 years ago. And I feel like some of the strength of these classes right now, especially if we're talking about the pro class and kind of some of these kids that are coming up through the ranks with their eyes on the pro class, it's stronger than it was 5 years ago, I would say. So what do you think, Sean? In 5 years, is ATV motocross kind of where it is now, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be where it is now. I remember back when I kind of was just getting into it, and then the U.S. went into that recession, and kind of things just fell down a little bit. And from years on, you always just kind of wondered, is it going to get better? Is it, the next year, is it going to get better than this? And it always kind of seems like it's stayed. Now I think people, big name people come and go, that, have an impact on the sport. And I think, that's probably what you're going to see, from here on out, I think. I mean, I don't see it getting any worse,
So you've, so Casey and I have pretty much been at all these races for the last handful of years, right? You've kind of come and gone.
Right.
You stepped away, came back. When you come back, is it pretty similar to what you remember it from, maybe a year or two earlier when you have that hiatus? Is it pretty much the same when you come back?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's why you had a unique position. So I wanted to ask you first.
Yeah, what's different for me is that when I was going every weekend and racing, it just seemed like wherever I would go around, at the track, I would just about know, anybody, or you'd sit and talk. Now it's not really like that. Now that I've kind of come and gone, I know certain people that still go run amateurs that try to catch up with, or that are from my area. But I think that that would be that'd be the difference for me, is that just I don't know everybody. It's this, like, some of the people that I used to hang out with are kind of gone away as well.
Sure. So the people change, but the series and races still seem to stay pretty similar. Casey,
Yep.
what do you think? 5 years from now, what are we seeing?
I think a lot of the same. Hopefully, I think the series is healthy right now. It's stable. Healthy could be depicted in many, many different directions. So, but I think it's pretty stable. I think there's some good people, that are involved and helping, and I enjoy seeing that. And there's a lot of promise in the youth ranks. I mean, I'm looking back at results. I was actually looking, because I'm getting ready to post an ad of champions for Impact Solutions this year. And I was kind of looking at some of this class sizes. Some of the classes I was a little disappointed in. Some of the classes I was really blown away by. So I think it's all good, and it's all on an average. I mean, our office manager, she tells me all the time, like, if we have like a bad day, and I'm like, man, we had a bad day today or whatever. She's like, it's all an average, because yesterday was better, tomorrow will be better. So right now it's all an average. The percentages aren't varying up and down real high, and I think that we're going to see that continue to stay pretty stable for the next 5 years for sure.
Yep, I feel so too. I feel like the health of it is good. The numbers are solid and kind of remaining solid. And like I said, I feel like there's a number of people in it that wouldn't let it diminish, wouldn't let it go away, wouldn't let it hurt. So yeah, I feel good about it. For all the people that like to kind of, like you said, there's people that like to spread a little negativity here and there, or that's their jam. And I don't think that's warranted here. So I feel like the sport's doing well. Our final question is one I've been receiving messages about daily. I've heard about it from riders, people working in the pro pits, and the rumor mill is running wild between everybody else that isn't a pro rider or in the pro pits. I probably got 30 questions about this topic for this segment here. So on the podium, Joel supposedly said something along the lines of, we have some big changes for next year, or something along those lines. And the rumor going around is them possibly kicking around the idea of going blue and switching to Yamaha. So Casey, I guess I'll start with you. Do you know anything about this, or is it simply just a rumor? Not trying to put anybody on the spot here, but just trying to get to the bottom of this. I reached out to my Yamaha guy to get any insight, but he was out of the office today, inconveniently for me.
Oh man, their bikes won't be blue.
Okay.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I needed to mention this, and I'm not big into ever getting into the rumor thing. I'm not in the rumor business. but I've gotten so many messages, and not only for this segment, but it's been for weeks. Hey, talk about all the people that are going to Yamaha. Talk about, this, that, and the other thing. We talked about it on the last episode about people saying that they need to reinvent the wheel at Phoenix Racing Honda.
The rumor mill is thick, dude. I mean, there's no joke, and I've been hearing the same thing, and
yeah,
I'm pretty much in the dark on that kind of stuff. But
sure.
The best way to sum that up for me is I don't think their bikes will move forward.
Right. We're all big moto fans here, and any moto fan knows that Geico Honda lost their Geico deal and just closed their doors after 22 years in the sport in the two-wheel side. And the rumor is that listening to the Pulp Show at the beginning of the week, the rumor is that David Eller's Phoenix Racing Honda team on the two-wheeled side may pick up some of those riders that were previously with Geico. Where I'm going with this is, that would mean that he could have some serious pull with factory Honda. Now, we could debate on how official the OEM involvement is in the four-wheeled side of things, but either way, I have a hard time seeing Phoenix doing big things potentially with Hondas in the bike world and riding a different brand on the HCV side. So as somebody that's not in the know with these rumors, I have no answer, not under the tent, anything like that. I just don't see them having possibly, as things are today on October 13th, just after Geico closes their doors, and there's rumors going around with people in the know about Phoenix possibly getting some of those big name young 250 kids from Geico. If David's working closely with Honda on that level, I just don't see the ATV side of things maybe running a competitor's bike, or, I don't care if they're blue or not. I just don't see that kind of going that way. So, yeah.
Sean, what do you think?
Okay. And let me preface this because Sean was under the tent.
Sean's under the tent. So it's on your shoulders, Sean.
Where I'm going with this is that everybody's like when we talked about this a little bit last week, but everybody's like, they need to do something different. Their bikes aren't holding up and all this stuff. And he had one moto. Like, the program is good. The Phoenix Racing program is good. I just don't understand this. So Sean, give us your opinion. You're inside the tent. I don't think the program over there, the people over there don't come off to me as people that are going to reinvent the wheel because of one bad moto, or they're going to go ride on blue bikes because they think that's the answer. So give me your opinion there. If nothing else, Sean, and I'll let you go now, but if nothing else, talk about how good and solid that program is, because you're in the tent.
I'm like 50-50 on it, because I know the Yamaha's fuel injected.
Yep.
But it's not like that the Honda, can't compete, or you can't make it better. Maybe there's just something, missing that to go back to the drawing boards. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it. If it goes either way, I wouldn't. If they stayed on the Honda, I would think that things would go good. Yeah, like you said, he had one bad moto, one DNF.
It's a good program.
Yeah, they run a great program, I feel like. But yeah, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it, I guess.
If he was racing anyone but Chad, one DNF wouldn't matter.
That's exactly.
I think we've actually said that before.
That's exactly what we said. If he wasn't racing Chad, it wouldn't matter. So
it was such a fluke thing too. It's just it's insane.
Exactly.
Like, we're gonna rewrite the book, dude. I helped write the book of Can-Am years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I caught the coattails of the book that was already written for Suzuki by incredible technicians. Ryan Cox, Kevin Muma, Corey Ellis, like, these guys know their crap. Robert McClure, like, these guys, Wayne Henson, they developed at Suzuki, and they taught me so much in a short period of time. And then, we took a few of those guys and went to Can-Am and developed a championship winning team on a bike that no one ever thought was going to do it. Like, if every time we had an issue back then, Chad DNF motos at Suzuki, you're talking about one of the teams that's known as the greatest team ever.
Mhm.
Like, on many, many different levels. And, then we transplant a lot of the same guys that we worked with at Suzuki. So all these guys that know so much, and the reason I know what I know, like I didn't know crap about quads and ATVs when I came into this. Ryan Cox, Corey Ellis, like these guys, they instilled this stuff and mentalities into my head about ATVs and taught me so much to where when we brought that into the Can-Am program, we turned that program into a successful program. But there was a lot of hiccups along the way. Hiccups happen. Chad's program has been solid for 8 years since 2012. I mean, his program was just so solid, so solid. He had one DNF. Is he going to go switch to a Honda because he broke a chain?
Right.
Like, come on, people. Like, this is
Exactly.
2020. Shit happens and things go on. So, I mean, could there be some fresh air? Is Joel in need of a change in his machine? And I'm not saying what color his machine is or what brand it is, whatever, but is there some progress to be made? Is the stone going to get ground really hard this winter? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So the only thing is if they truly believe that they can't get the Honda to perform to the level of the Yamaha, and I mean those Yamahas are amazing machines, and I think that some of the improvement that that Thomas and Chad and some of those guys saw seem to be in the tuning of those things. And that I think what are they using, the PEP performance tuning stuff there, and it seemed like maybe that helped them grab a gear. The only way that I don't know, again, I'm not an inside source here, but I feel like unless they think they can't make it work, I don't think they're going to want to punt on, being the Honda affiliated team. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting and to see what happens over the coming months. I think that a lot of this stems from that people get excited. It's like in other sports where, when Tom Brady's going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it just makes everybody excited. So people, I don't know if they like the thought of Joel hopping on a blue bike and it just gets exciting, or us back in the day watching Chad go from Suzuki to Kawasaki to Can-Am. I mean, that was exciting. Hopping on a Yamaha, those are exciting things. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens down the stretch. So thanks for bearing with me there, guys. We needed to at least cover the question a little bit. And yeah, I mean, people might riot if we didn't at least mention it. So it's not as clean cut, I think, as people would think.
But the overall, I mean, the program's solid. And I think that's where
yes.
you were kind of trying to get with that, because I know there was a pretty harsh question last time we did this, and
yeah,
and that wasn't
the only one, and that wasn't the only one like that. There was a plenty of them that were trying to talk about that was what had to happen, and that's what stood out so much about Chad's this run he's been on, is that his bikes never break. And if you look at if you could just count the number of DNFs that happened in the pro class in a season, and when one of them goes between the top two guys, like, that's amazing. There's tens, there's however many in the rest of the class. Yeah, I mean, there's multiple riders.
So Alan Myers is on the Yamaha and he DNF'd. Two of the last 5 motos,
a number of them down the stretch. Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, yes. So that's a testament to how good those top 2 programs are, and Wienen Motorsports and Phoenix Racing Honda. And again, they're kind of the 2 pillars at this point. So it'll be fun to see what happens down the stretch. So that'll do it for our listener questions. We had to cap it with a good one there. Thanks to CST again for the mountain bike tire giveaway. And thanks to everybody who's kind of sent in those questions along the way.
Did you choose who you're giving the mountain bike tires to yet?
Yeah, we get not the mountain bike tires. I think I'm going to give them to this last question about we had a number of questions about the Yamaha stuff there was a rider that, or there was a listener that broke it down and brought up the dirt bike side of things and Geico and all this stuff, which is exactly where I was going. They must have probably listened to Pulp just like I did. And so I'm going to choose him for the mountain bike tires. And Sawyer Kostelik won the ATV tires last week, and I think he's the one that brought up the question about rivalry. If we'll ever see anybody do anything like Chad and Joel, and if who that next rivalry could be. And that's when we kind of started to talk about Max and Bryce down the stretch. So he's the one that won that last week. So if you guys didn't catch that episode, listen to last week's, because that was good too. So yeah, good stuff tonight, guys. I feel like we basically broke down the stuff as much as you ever could, but feel like we wanted to squeeze the last little bit of juice out of this thing that we could, because now we're going to transition into the off season and not have quite so much stuff to talk about for a little while. So I appreciate your guys' time tonight, fitting me into your schedule and everything else. I greatly appreciate it. And both of you guys have such awesome takes, especially coming off south of the border where Sean was wrenching, and Casey, you're a big part of that Phoenix Honda team too. And just, you're obviously a great figurehead at the races. So, I mean, man, it was a hell of a year, and I'm sure, before we know it, we'll be back here talking about preseason 2021.
Yeah. Where's everyone going this winter?
Where's everyone going? They're going to the Decker training facility. That's a shameless plug.
Shameless plug. I brought that up on purpose.
Thank you. There was no hesitation there either.
Yeah.
No, I think that surely sounds like the place to be. I've never been to County Line, but formerly known as County Line. But yeah, it looks like a great place. They're doing tons of improvement and stuff down there. So it looks like an exciting place to be. The place to be. And I'd love the thought of getting down there at some point to check it out and rip some of those tracks, because it looks like a blast. Sean, you act like you've been there.
Yeah, that was when I went down. One of my first times I ever went south, kind of before I was racing the nationals. I went down for like over Christmas break, when I was in high school.
Sure.
And our first two stops was Riverside in Alabama.
Okay.
And,
yep.
And then we went to County Line the next stop, and yeah, I was in heaven. That place is amazing. And I'm trying to think of the last time I was there. I think I stopped there. I think I did. I stopped there in 2017, the last year on our way over to Daytona. I stayed there for a day or two, and it had changed quite a bit. I mean, it was kind of narrow, just because I know they there for a while, they were closing for like a month at a time, and like it was just dirt bikes that were like staying there training and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, an awesome facility. It looks like Deckers are really, really making it into a facility to be at and to train at, and it looks great.
Yeah, I mean, we live kind of in a world right now where ATVs, can be the sideshow at times, can be discriminated against at times. I mean, I think that we've all felt that here or there. In the play, I mean, I remember there was places like I'd stay one place in the one off season, and by the next off season, it was like quads weren't allowed there anymore. So I love the thought of an ATV centric place where it seems like, I mean, that's going to be the mecca for ATV racing, or ATV racers prepping for 2021. Casey, I kind of cut you off there. What were you going to say about the Decker training facility?
Oh, I was actually down there right after COVID happened, and went down and did some testing there with a couple people, and
okay.
It is an amazing facility, and the coolest thing for me is it's ATV friendly. They're going to cater to the ATVs, and so I think you guys that do go south and do spend all winter in Florida, it's something to look into with those guys, because I've been to a couple places. I tested at a couple of tracks down there, and like, oh, you guys can't ride till after 2:00. Like, I need all day. Like, I didn't show up. These guys aren't paying to ride from 2 to 4 or 2 to 5. Like, we need to be there all day. And with the Decker deal and where they're at location wise, the track's going to be quad rough, which is a huge positive for all of us in the sense of testing wise, especially for me for suspension. Yep. Testing on a track that the dirt bikes have rutted up and stuff like that makes it really hard, because we're not going to race on anything like that. So we're going to go there and ride stuff that we're going to actually race on. And so, they're supporting us as ATV community, and I think that's where they need to go. Everyone should go down there and train. I think there's going to be there's going to be cabins, a lot of RV hookups, a lot of room. And even for the woods guys, I know me and Jason Decker just talked the other day, and they're going to have a pretty decent sized wood loop that will sort of tie into the motocross track too, so they can get, I don't think you're going to go out there and get a 20-30 minute lap time, but you're still going to be able to ride in the woods. And I know, talking with Johnny Gallagher and Chris Borch and a couple of these guys over the winter, they were struggling to find places to ride in the woods in Florida this year, which I never really thought, besides Croom. Obviously Croom is there. Those guys go right there, but everyone look up Decker. I think they deserve the credit that they're getting. They're helping a lot of people be involved still in ATV motocross and ATV racing in general.
Of course, I talked about this. We talked about this a little bit on the last episode. We were talking about national tracks at the time, but I said that I'm all for going anywhere that's going to be quad friendly, anybody that wants to have us. And obviously it remains true in this sense. I mean, almost even more. Why would you go anywhere else if you're going to head south, if you're going to head that region at all, to train, go there, because they're quad friendly and they're ATV centric. So support an ATV friendly place, period. I mean, that's the way that we need to stick together in that way, simply put. So I love to hear it. I'm glad that that conversation went there before we signed off on this thing. But guys, I can't thank you enough again for your time tonight and for all your insight into south of the border, the season, all this stuff. I love having these kind of bench racing conversations. It takes me back to being on the track with those guys. I'm sure it does for you, Sean, and I'm sure that that Casey, takes you kind of back to your racing days or back to being a mechanic or whatever. It's a great time. So anyways, I just can't thank you both enough for joining me and sharing all your insight here tonight.
Thanks for having me, man. It was a good time. Enjoyed talking with you and Casey, and Casey does great talking, where he's at. He's there at the races every weekend. So it's awesome to hear your insight, Casey, obviously.
I just try to keep it as straight as I can. And, I don't know that everyone always agrees with my perspective, but it is a perspective. A lot of opinions and a lot of things are kind of put that way, but it's the same thing. Like, it's cool. Obviously, I always love having Sean back at the races. Been a good friend of mine since way back in the Can-Am days. And when he was just a little Grom running around with Joel all over Florida, chasing us around, and we were working out of trailers and trying to build factory bikes and looked like we had our shit together, but we never really did until it come race day, and that was the important part. But no, it's good to have you. It was a pleasant surprise to see you at south of the border. I actually didn't find out until like the week before. And job well done. The bike stayed together. You kept Joel's head on straight. So good job, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Well, yeah, that was well said. Congrats, Sean, on the win down there. And we're gonna sign off on this thing. Thanks again for your time. And like I say every time, you guys are always welcome back. So we'll have to do this again. And thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. See you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. That's a wrap. We've officially closed the book on this 2020 season, and I just want to take a second to credit and thank everyone within the ATV Motocross National Championship Series for making this season possible. There was hurdles, but they made it happen for us, and I think I speak for everyone when I say we sure are grateful we got to go racing this summer. It may have been the one place where life seemed pretty normal, so thanks to everyone involved there. A major thanks to tonight's guests, Casey Greek and Sean Taylor. Always great to have those guys on. Thanks as well to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, who always finds time to fit the podcast into his busy schedule. Thanks, Dallas. We couldn't do it without you. Thanks to Brooke, and thanks to AMA official Harv Whipple for all he does to assist us. Thanks to our sponsors, CST Tires, Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew, Valvoline, SSI Decals, DID Racing Chain, Wienen Motorsports, the Decker Training Facility, Nomura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, Evans Waterless Power Sports Coolant, Forworks Carbon, DP Brakes, Gripped Gloves, Blenders Eyewear, Mountaineer Brand, Avocado Green Mattress, Roman Health, Factory 43, and Bike Strikes and Quads, LLC. Support the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. You can find all of our episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links and discount codes, our show merchandise, and more all on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com. So check that out today. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. You justify all the hard work we put into this, so thanks for the constant outpouring of kind words and support. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. Basically, wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATV MX podcast. If you need help finding us, simply go to diggingdeepatvmx.com and select your preferred podcast provider from there. You surely know by now that we have a full line of merchandise. With fall in full swing, it's the perfect time to grab one of our badass Digging Deep hoodies, which we just rolled out in black and people are loving them. Digging Deep shirts, hoodies, and more are available with free shipping and all proceeds going directly towards constant growth and improvement of the show. Available for purchase today on our website. Show your support by wearing our apparel. Aside from our merch, if you're looking for an easy way to support our efforts, visit diggingdeepatvmx.com and click the Buy Me a Coffee button. This is an easy way for you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to help us out. Remember, you can call our voicemail line at any time with your questions, topic suggestions, business inquiries, and more. Our show number is 920-569-3519, so give us a call and you may hear yourself on an upcoming episode. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional behind-the-scenes content and insider info as we head into the off-season. You know I love the screenshots showing that you're listening, so as always, send those in and I promise to keep sharing them. It's a simple and effective way to help spread the word. So be sure to subscribe to the show, give us a rating, tell your friends, share our posts, wear our shirts and hoodies. This helps spread word about us while helping grow the sport that we love. Your help is so appreciated, so if you enjoy what we're doing, take a second to like, rate, and subscribe to help us stick around long into the future. Congrats to Chad Wienen on his 7th AMA ATV Pro Class title. We plan to get him on the next episode, and we plan to get a bunch of these guys on to debrief about their season, so stay tuned over the course of the coming weeks. With that, for Casey Greek, Sean Taylor, Dallas Jansen, Brooke Catherine, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to the #1 podcast in ATV racing, 1 million downloads and counting. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then at Steel City.
I would need to check this out.
I'm dead serious. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
It's not easy, Steve. It's not easy.
Listen, JB, I don't want to hear.
It's not easy.
I don't want to hear.
Quad leaders are freaking gnarly.
You don't chew Big Red. What the?